chicks are crazy for a certain burly wool, a real sharp curly wool. Whose line is oh so smooth when he spreads it on. Sharp or smooth, he's in the groove where loving is a thing, and all the
Paranoia, war bonds, the Allies and the Axis, Pearl Harbor, and Hiroshima. Years between 1939 and 1945 were filled with a loss and a pervading sense of fear and paranoia. Despite this, due to successful propaganda and a rise in patriotism, the American people pulled together to help with the war effort. Young enlisted men were shipped off as soldiers overseas. Many did not return. However, soldiers weren't the only ones fighting on the front lines. 1940 saw the birth of the first motion picture unit. It boasted a cast of Warner Brothers directors, along with other famous figures in the media and entertainment industry.
He relaxes with a gal who's a spy.
Officially dubbed so in 1942, General Henry H. Arnold contracted Jack Warner and Owen Crump to create animated shorts to be viewed specifically by U.S. soldiers. These videos range from basic military training to healthy warnings about the result of loose lips. Though Disney got the first shot at these commissions, the dark and pervading nature of the cartoons were not as well received and more expensive than Warner Brothers shorts. Being underbid, Disney was ultimately dropped from the military commission. From Warner Brothers Studios, Private Snafu was created. Snafu was created specifically for soldiers to view during training, but what does Snafu stand for? Private Snafu was a character that starred in the black and white cartoon shorts commissioned by the U.S. Army between 1943 and 1945. Some of the quirky melodic dialogue that Snafu can be heard reciting was written by the well-known children's author, Theodore Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss.
Now who in hell do you suppose it was that let my secret out? What was that I heard you say, my little sauerkraut?
Those cartoons were educational. Though the U.S. Army had to approve all storyboards, the studio was given lots of free rein to keep the cartoons entertaining.
A wonderful evening, and I'd like to stay some more. But I gotta get a move on now. I sail at 4:30.
Snafu shorts were directed by a great bag of Golden Age animation directors, such as Chuck Jones, Friz Freleng, Bob Clampett, and Frank Cashman, with voice characterizations by Mel Blanc, dubbed the Man of 1,000 Voices. Not only did Snafu serve as an educational tool for the military, but he was ultimately responsible for keeping the animation studio alive during the war. The studio was declared an essential industry because of it. However, with the end of the war, Snafu disappeared into obscurity, eventually deemed too offensive for the general audience for stereotypical depictions of German, Japanese, and Russian people. The name Private Snafu comes from the unofficial military acronym SNAFU, for Situation Normal, all messed up. This was deemed too strong language even for their target audience. The opening narrator merely hinted at its meaning.
Situation normal. All fouled up.
Who was the only Warner Brothers cartoon star to be initiated into the United States Marine Corps? Private Snafu was not the only Warner Brothers cartoon star who contributed to the war effort.
The tall man with a high hat and a whiskers on his chin will soon be knocking at your door, and you ought to be in. The tall man with the high hat will be coming down your way. Get your savings out when you hear him shout, any bonds today? Come on and get him, folks. Come on, skip right up. Oh, murder.
The well-known cast of eclectic characters that by now filled up the Warner Brothers studio played their part too. Bugs Bunny was popular during World War II due to his free and easy attitude, which was a welcome relief to the public.
Heil Hitler. So, vermachten Blitzkriegen, aber Sauerkrauten mit seiner Hand, Jahrhunderte Linnen, mit stammelnden Werke, Opfrassen, Fämmer, Gluten, Fluten, Bluten, Tuten, Minuten, Toten. So.
He was often pitted against the era's biggest evils, as Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, and the Japanese. Being a production of its time, many of the wartime cartoons in which Bugs Bunny confronts what was deemed the evil figures of World War II have since been pulled and banned due to the heavy racial stereotyping. In the episode Super Rabbit, the end of the short shows Bugs Bunny sporting a United States Marine Corps dress uniform. Because of this, the USMC made Bugs an honorary Marine Master Sergeant.
Sorry, fellas. I can't play with you anymore. I got some important work to do. We will fight our country's battles on the land as on the sea.
What two conditions does Donald Duck suffer from as revealed in the short Donald Gets Drafted? During World War II, the general audience, though relieved by the antics of Bugs Bunny, also looked to other studios for cartoons that were edgier and sometimes darker than its Warner Brothers counterpart, to suit the mood of the wartime era. Though not as popular as the shorts produced by Warner because of the grim atmosphere, the shorts nevertheless reflected the mood of the general American audience during this time. One of the most notable propaganda shorts starring Donald Duck was called De Fuhrer's Face, in which Donald Duck is an artillery factory worker in Naziland, where he is forced to salute and hail any and all pictures of Adolf Hitler. In Donald Gets Drafted, which aired May 1st, 1942, Donald gets a physical examination and is deemed to be flat-footed and unable to distinguish between the colors green and blue, which is a form of colorblindness.
What color is this red card? And this green one? Blue? That's close enough.
Though many companies went under due to the war, the public still needed reasons to laugh and find a lighter side to the building anxiety that the war brought about. Military commissions helped keep studios afloat, and though many of the cartoons of this time were aimed toward military men and a patriotic public, they remain as testament to the time despite being forgotten as the war era passed.
Well, come on, boy.